Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is from the depths, and you're in, well, we are in, shall we say, the cockpit for the ReconBallonIII version 3, which is currently sitting at 483 meters high, which tends to be the height it's got to at the moment, is the standard height with some balloons and these rockets pushing it up. And our idea in this episode is to try and push this a little higher. So we want to extend this up that way. We want to try and see what it takes to push this into, shall we say, well, basically orbital levels, for want of a better word. That's quite simple. We want to get this up to, so it's into space, and make this more of like a satellite than it is a basically a flying balloon. Now, instead of starting from scratch, we are going to modify the existing craft. Now, that is being done for a few reasons. One of which is that when we do a rebuild or a refit, we're not deleting the complete system, and that way it will actually refit itself. And I also feel like it. Yeah, I feel like it. That's the main reason. I feel like doing it this particular way. Now, I'm looking at a couple of items because I've got some ideas, but I want to make this a little bit different to normal. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start lower down. So let me go back to the starter raft. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go forces back onto the starter raft. And we're going to take this recon balloon out of the game. There we go. And there I am back on the raft. Now I'm going to launch another one in, and then just hold it at a lower level. Don't let it get quite so high this time. So back in a minute. Okay, well, welcome back, and we got the recon balloon basically now stabilised at a slightly lower altitude. Now, okay, the reason I want to do this is I want to look at this slightly differently. I don't want to just modify it to push it up. I want to actually make this a slightly nicer system of how it works, with some control blocks and other little programs, and also possibly make programs is the wrong word, work blocks. So change some of the blocks. I've got an idea of something which it may work, it may be complete and up to rubbish, but I want to give it a go anyway. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to look at what does it take to get something up into the space. Now, with the experience of the Epic ship, I know that we have to get to zero G gravity. Now, 0G for my character is going to be around the 800 meters mark, approximately, just a little bit less. It starts getting 0G. After that, and above about 550, these type of jets will no longer have any benefit. So we could basically change their output down to 0. Yeah. Now, one thing is, by changing their output down, if you look at the power reading down in the bottom right hand side, which is showing 297, if I take that down, you'll notice that all the power that engine was using disappears, because it effectively turns itself off. Now, to get up into the higher altitudes, we're going to need to maximize the energy available to us, which means we need to get some initial thrust up, and then basically go to ions, which are less energy efficient, but we don't want to turn them on until we actually absolutely need them. So what I'm thinking of is a 3-level type of system. So we're going to need some control blocks, quite simply. We're going to start with some control blocks here. They're not control blocks. That I obviously didn't pick the control block. There we go. Let's try control blocks this time. What I'm going to do is only bring the relevant thrust on when it is actually required. So we're going to basically set everything to only turn on at certain altitudes where it is required. Okay, so starting off, let's put a control block here and say, what have we got here already? Activate balloons. Okay, so first of all, let's change activate on spawning. Effect range is everywhere and a delay of 1 second. Propulsion, set everything to 0. Now that's basically going to turn off all of these engines everywhere, which is fine. Now the next bit is, let's say we're at low level, so we don't know what we're going to do is we're going to work our way up the altitudes. So let's say we started off in the water or at low level. The first thing we need to bring on is the balloons. So we're going to bring the balloons on. So let's find out, which is, I think, are these two. So what we're going to do is, let's set my airspeed. Now we'll get rid of that one. What I'm going to do is make these two the balloon ones. So instead of having it activate every 5 seconds, what we're going to say is activate when altitude is less than, say, 300. Balloon deployers activate. That's fairly good. Then we're going to have the air balloons on this one. Come here. Try and get. Well, we've got another block here. What's this block? What's this block? Spinning blocks. Set rotation to 0.5. I don't know why that spin. Why is that? Oh yeah, that's spinning that one. Okay, ignore that one. That's fine. So this next one. So when the altitude is greater than, we'll say it for 400 for the moment, then balloon deployers deactivate. That sounds good to me. So that would be deactivated the balloons, and then they should reactivate in a little bit. There we go. So let's just see how high those balloons on their own will take us. So we'll take off the... So we should only have balloons taking us up at this time. It's a bit wobbly, but I just want to see how high, because that will set at what point we need to disable the balloons and say go to jet propulsion instead. So we're wobbling up 200 meters. Not too bad. No, I'm not going to put any balloons. This is only a first start. So okay, well maybe 200. If we can get to 300, that would be good. Let's see if we can get up a little bit higher. There's nothing like a little bit more height. So the balloons are starting to dip down a little bit. Okay, it looks like it's going to be 200. Okay, right, well, just stabilize everything. So I'm going to say deactivate when at 250. Let's say 250. And we'll activate when under 200. And then our engines here, so they've deactivated because we're at 220. And our engines here, this one will, if altitude, we're going to set a little bit of a level here, so only about 5 meters. So we're going to activate all of these engines that we're going to put here. We're going to put some more engines on here as well. Activate when altitude greater than 200. Whoops, I forgot to actually put what we're going to do, which is put the propulsion at 100%. There we go. And same over here. So, when altitude greater than 200, propulsion, set drive fraction, oops, I almost got for there, that's 5, at 100%. So our engines are now back online. And we're going to put a few more in here. So we will, we'll put a few more. That's fine. Need to put these onto main as well to ensure they push me upwards. Now, one problem I have at the moment is I am actually in the seat of this aircraft, so I'm actually affecting the potential power from this engine. So I should actually get myself out of this engine. Out of this engine? Out of this ship, to ensure that I can actually get an accurate measurement from the vehicle. So what I'm going to do is go here, go out of there, whoops, put myself into this, and then go there. Now you can see, because I'm not in, oh, no, I'm still there. Okay, let me just, I'm gonna have to bike the world. There we go. Whoops, I got onto that, but our 179 is our true power. So let's see how high this is getting us with these new systems. We are stable. We seem to be relatively stable. The stabilizers are working. Good, good, good. 480. Not bad, not bad. Right, let's just hold us. Release us. Is that going to go any higher? 484. If I now press V, we can see that our air density is down 0.1. So basically, and gravity is still 1. So, but basically our air density is so low at this point that we're not really having any true effect on this system. We're going to be fairly meaningless at this time. Just realised something I'm going to put into here under air is just a single tailplane. There we go. That might just stabilise us. It might have no effect whatsoever, but it's worth a try. Okay, so 480 is our key at the moment. So now we've got to push ourselves a bit higher. And what I am thinking, well, obviously, I'm not saying obviously, but, well, I am saying obviously, the thing we need is ions. Ions have to push us up even higher. So I want to do something which is not necessarily normal and will look reasonable, because I think that's a good idea. So I'm looking at our radar dish, and it's, yeah, okay, might be, let's just go a little bit further, because I has a plan. It's a cunning idea of a plan. Now I'm using some wood here. Now actually what I might do is start thinking about replacing some of this, because we now need to think about lightweight. Currently our wood beams weigh 0.4, and if I go to light alloy it only weighs 0.2. So that's sort of certainly potentially a good idea. So what we're gonna do is start replacing some of this, and what I really need to do first of all is put a mirror line on. Let's put a mirror line on. There we go, a nice little mirror line. Okay, then I go to key mode. Right, here you go. And down and in there. I'm guessing that is all of those areas. And I'm not so sure that that was actually correct. Okay, let's go forward one. There we go. It's not, I haven't got all of them yet. We will. We're leaving some at this moment. Right, we'll get that one there. And one more. Through there. There we go. And yes, I should get these ones at the top as well. Whoops, there we go. In there. And in there. There we go. So we've changed this now to be an alloy. Fairly much. Okay, there's a little bit of wood in the centre. Whoops, did that not... or did that work? That didn't work. These are done as blocks. That's going to be a little bit more awkward. Okay, light alloy blocks it is then. There we go. Okay. Go back to my mouse mode. Because I like to upset all those people that complain that I use mouse mode instead of keyboard mode. Okay, sorry. Right, so next, let's see. Now, I'm just thinking about this. We need the thrust to be above the center point. So where is the center point first? If we're getting a large amount of thrust upwards, is our center point really down here? Our center point's about there. Okay, that's okay then. I can go out from this position. But what we'll do is we'll go out here like that. And then I'm thinking. See, what I want is a system which basically extends out at a certain height, and then thrusts us the other way up. But very similar to the arms we've got in the Epic ship, so that it sort of like thrusts us up at this 400 meters to give us the extra boost. Now we've got, by the looks of it, 119 power to push us up. Now what we will be able to do is cut out these engines at the height where these come on. That's the aim. That is the aim. That is the aim of this as such. So we'll work on that particular element in a second. So, but we're going to start with something fairly simple. So new object. We're not going to make this overly complex, he says, as he starts getting really complex, because that's generally what I end up doing. Right, let's just make sure I'm pointing the right way. No, that's not pointing the right way. I want you pointing down and to the front. There we go. Down and to the front. There we go. And now what we're going to do is get some metal alloy beams, and just quite simply, actually we'll put you on the end. On the end of this, actually. Down there. And down there. Because I reckon if I now get some ions, ion thrusters, and we can expand out how many ion thrusters we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just put 4 on it there for the moment. We can go towards a larger unit later. We can expand this out sideways as much as anything. Right, let's go. We'll go back and we're going to produce this on the other side. Now, one thing we need to do here is some control blocks straight away. And I want to make sure this all balances, I want to put the mirror line on. Let's see, I need 4 control blocks, so we'll put 2 on either side. I need 2 to control the spin block at certain heights, and the propulsion at certain heights. So let's start with the... Now, when you're affecting propulsion units on a spin block, what you actually have to do is just control the spin block itself. If you control the spin block, then it automatically controls all the propulsion on that spin block. So for instance, from here I need about a range of 3. So just to see, range of 3, which should get us to there. Propulsion component, set drive fraction 0. Test. Now if I go down here, you can see they're all set to 0. Excellent. Now we're going to set this at 0. So if when altitude is less than, we'll set this at, we know we're going to get to 480, so I want this at 480. That's going to be our key point. So when altitude less than 480, enable them. Okay. And then the reverse one here is when altitude greater than 480. Range of 3. Now it's going to be about 4. Propulsion components, set drive fraction 0. Test. Are these now at 100%? They're now at 100%. Excellent. Now we need to allow for the time it takes for this to extend out. So range of 3. Let's say it's going to do it at 350. When altitude greater than 350, spin block, rotate to, let's try 90. No, that would be the wrong way. We'll try minus 90. Dun dun dun! There we go. Right, so no delay, and the reverse at a range of 4. What did I just set that to? I have 350. Okay, so when altitude less than 350, spin block, set rotation 0. Obviously, it's not going to work now because we're over that height. Now we've got to do exactly the same over here. First of all, we have to build our spin block. Precision spin block. Facing forward, the front of the ship, and then pointing down. There we go. And then a block, light alloy black, block 1 and 2, and then some ion thrusters. Where is the ion thruster? There it is. Da da da. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Make sure they're all on main. Yep, they've automatically gone on to main. Now, power-wise, you can already see we're down to 46, so we've only got a little bit of power available to us to really get this into space. So we've got to be lightweight on this. So let's see, 480s was this fraction. So let's duplicate it exactly. When less than 480, so when altitude less than 480, propulsion components, set drive fraction 0. And the limit is going to be 3. And here, limit of 4, set that up first. When altitude greater than 480, Propulsion components, set drive fraction 1. There we go. Right, so everyone should be at 100%. Excellent. And now we have this, which is at 350. So when altitude greater than 350, range is 3. Spin block, rotate. Now rotate to, let's try 90. Whoops. That looks good. So that means this one is when altitude less than 350. Spin blocks, rotate 0. 4. It's not going to go down. Now, the other bit we need to do is at this propulsion point of 480 is we stop these engines working. So when altitude greater than 480, distance of 5 I think is what we'd set. Might need to make this 6 because we're 1 above the previous position. Set drive fraction 0. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So 480 when altitude greater than 480. Range 6, propulsion, set drive fraction 0. So these are all gone down to 0, and these are all gone down to 0, and that's given us a bit more power. So we're up to 99 available, which means that if I go here, I can grab some more of these and go 1 more and 2 more. We'll go 3. We'll go 3. So it's that bar is fully loaded, and we'll do the opposite on the opposite side as well. And take that over. Where did I go? 1, 2, 3. Now, is this going to be enough to put it? Now, we haven't finished yet because one problem at the moment is this will just keep going up. I do want it to actually stabilise at a particular height, so we'll organise that separately. But let's just see if we can get this to go up. I'm not sure whether this will be good enough to get up, but let's see how it thrusts up. It's getting to 500. Let's have a see what our gravity is. Our gravity is going down. Our altitude is going up. Will it continue? That's a good sign, actually. We've still got thrust at this altitude. Excellent. Excellent. So we are doing this with pure grunt. So 850, yeah, or just over. So actually it's 900. 900 meters is the point of space. And we are now in space and continuing to go up. Now what I've got to do is set something that sets some limits. Otherwise, this will just keep going up to about 5,000, I reckon. So I'm reckoning 3,000 would be a good maximum height. So first of all, what I want to do is propulsion components, set drive fraction 0. Now we're starting to get some wobble around the 1200. Okay, so when altitude, we need to set this so that when altitude greater than 1,200, propulsion component set drive factor 0. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start using delays on here to mean that these will not instantly reverse. Now we're going to get some wobble here. until they sort themselves out. So we've got a bit of wobble because they didn't all get in time with each other. We are still slightly going up. The two ways around that, that's not actually a big problem. If I put this up to 5,000 meters, does it really matter? We're in space. Do I look like I care? Right, we need to make sure that this here is set to our cruising altitude is now going to be a nice respectable 2,000 meters. 1,800 then. Okay, with a minimum altitude of 1895. There we go. And we've got no actual thrust, but at least and we could just put oh yeah, okay, what we can do is put some ions in this, some downward facing ions. Now they might not actually have as much control, because if I've set the thrust to be 0, okay, let's try this slightly differently. On there we're going to put an aileron there and an aileron there. Well, it's not tipping up, it's a little bit wobbly, which I'm not happy with, but it's not tipping up as such, so that's a good thing. In theory, this would just keep going and going and going, I think. We can't see the actual effect on the map, but yeah, if we just let this go up, but yeah, I want to make it so it stops. Now they've got two options for making this stop. This is just going to keep on going upwards. Is we could put an ion on the top, so I'm going to get rid of that one, and I could put an ion on the top pointing downwards. With an ACB which says when altitude greater than 1800, propulsion in the limit of 2, set drive fraction to be, we'll just set a nice little 0.4 for the moment, just to see if that will sort of, you see it's done 40%. That just forces us down, so whenever we go above, that should give us a 40% boost. No, it's not stabilizing it enough. Okay, let's give it a 100% boost. Still going up. It's going up. Right, okay, let's reduce here, increase this drive fraction. So here, this takes effect after 5 seconds. So that will basically mean it's got a fifth of the force. It'll only make that change once every 5 seconds, which effectively would reduce the force. You can see the rocking's slopped has changed slightly. That's running at 100%. We're still slightly going up. Let's just make sure this is actually on... it's not on main. There we go. Let's see if that's a bit better. Oh, we're going down quite nicely now. I might have to balance that. Let's just reduce that down again. Let's make that 3. And this one 3. This is the usual balancing. I normally hide this, but this should be relatively quick, and it just shows you what has to go in to get these balanced. Yeah, this is as unstable as hell because of these delays. So the way these blocks work is every 3 seconds it is still applying this 100%. It's not getting superseded, although it's almost instantly being turned off by this one. It's not enough. It's constantly just having a little tweak back again as such. Okay, so we're at 1790 and it's up. So it's to stabilize around the 1800 meters, which is good. I mean, we could set it so and just leave it go up to whatever height it wants, but I like the fact that we've actually managed to stabilize this. So I'm gonna save this now, and then we're going to see what happens when we load it in back at sea level. So back in a minute. Okay, ready to load it in. Let's see what happens when we launch. So load vehicle. Now I'm not going to go into the chair. I want it loaded without. So we're going to load it in and see if it will take off, as I hope it will. Now I'm going to have to try and follow it. So here we go. So thrusters off, into balloon mode. Balloon going up quite nicely. Now what I'll do is I will actually go into build mode here, just so I can see the altitude and it'll be easier to watch. So it's a slow start because we're just using balloons, but we have plenty of power available. We're heading up, continuing to head up. Oh, we seem to have stopped at 190, 118. Because I took that extra balloon off, wasn't it? Okay. There we go. 2 more balloons. There we go. Just need a little bit more balloon effort. Let's keep an eye on from the front. So it's stable. We still don't seem to be going up as high as I expected. We need to get to 220. Okay, more balloons. This is why you have testing, I guess. 2 more balloons. Can we get a little higher, please? I want to get to the 200. Please, 200. And then we will be fine with the jets. Close, getting there, getting close. 174. 175. Okay, so fair enough. Do I put more balloons on here now, or do I say, okay, we'll just set these at 150? Okay, let's just turn that, put this on here, and we'll say this is actually going to go in at 150. Testing, testing, testing. Right, and that at 150. I didn't think I added that much, but the jets previously must have been adding more lift than I expected. Right, and we'll find the balloon release. Oh, the balloon release can still be at 200. So, okay, those engines come on a little sooner. So now we turn on. Okay, the balloons are now pushing us. And the balloons should detach. Good, good, good. We're at 350. They're coming out quite nicely. And fingers crossed, we've got a little bit of a turn on us, but I'm not too worried about that. 470, it's changed over to ions. Whoa! We seem to be having a bit of a swirly match there at 470 odd, because it's 480 they kick in. They're kicking in unevenly. Okay, we might need to kick them in a little earlier then. Okay, so we're set the 0 to be 400. And then we'll set these ones to be 450s. So basically one is kicking in before the other one is ready. But it's pushed it above it now. So they're pushing up, the other engines have disappeared. We'll try this one more time and hopefully get a successful launch from the start. So back in a second. So ready to load in the balloon one more time. Ready, and off we go. Whoops, I ended up taking over the radar dish. So we'll see from start whether this works. So we've got a little bit of an uneven wobble, but we're hoping that that will even itself out, and I'm not too worried if it doesn't. I think it will be still quite reasonable. This is still a little bit, shall we say, utilitarian? Minimalistic. I prefer minimalistic. Okay, that's gone. We've gone into jet propulsion only. They're coming out. Ions should kick in at 450. We're above 450 now. They've kicked in. It's going to take a little bit just to stabilise. The jet engines have cut out. Excellent. Our speed is adequate, 10.4 meters a second. It's got that just from basically random moves, but in the map that will be good. That will give us a good 10 meters a second for moving around the map. And we're at 800 meters. Our gravity, we are experiencing zero gravity. We are in space. Yay! Should equalize itself out, should pop above 1800, then come back down again, which again for the map will be good, because it means we'll be able to set our height when we go to an area to be around the 1800 meter mark, and that should extend our visibility using the same. I haven't updated this radar dish. I don't think that's necessary. We've got, you know, a fair bit of metal being used, but that's about it. Now we're hitting this instability around the 1200 meter mark, which is something we had happened before, because it's now at this 1200. It is actually now cutting these down to 0, and they get a little boost up, then 1200. Now I could actually change that to be a little bit higher up. So we're going to say start doing that at, say, 1700. Whoa, bit unstable there, whilst it just evens itself out. So now we got these are both at that, that's fine. Relatively stable. They're sometimes turning on at different times, but not too bad. 1500 mark. Ready to hit the 1800. Speed went down. These should all now be at 0 or relatively 0, getting flicked to 100 every 3 seconds. Yep. So they get a little pulse upwards every 3 seconds. And this one at 1800 should get a pulse to push it down again. So they're going to be slowly pushing their way up. So I'll just fast forward it to the 1800 meter mark. And welcome back. And although it's showing us 1790, that is because the heights are based upon the actual ACB. So this ACB here is actually at 1800, whereas the vehicle, which is based upon here, is about 10 blocks below, I guess. So that's why that's showing as 1790, 91 sort of thing, and then pushing itself down again. Because this is actually cutting in, I believe. I think I'm correct in saying that. It's so quick, but 1790 height, I'm not unhappy with that. That will do for the campaign. We'll be able to retrofit the existing units to replace them with this, and that should extend our vision range, maybe reduce a few of them in places. We've obviously got the Navarone base. I was trying to think of the name of it. Navarone base in some places, which is doing the same job, but where I've got a mobile recon balloon, we will replace it with this one. And it was just an experiment as well of what it takes to have or put something into orbit. You can see the number of ions we need, and for the size of this vehicle, that's actually quite a lot of ions. Now I could possibly have done with a few less. It wasn't just about going into, it was easily going into space, so maybe I could have done with one or two less of these, maybe one. No, actually I think two. I don't think the 4 would have done it on their own. But also we have a lot of this lightweight alloy. This is not a metal. The Epic ship, as an example, in comparison, was pure metal, which means all of these beams would have been considerably heavier. But the metal, in theory, has a better survivability. So it's an offset, basically. You've got lightweight or better resistance, and for the Epic ship I went for resistance. For this we're going for lightweight. So anyway, hopefully that's been interesting. Oh, there's the other one we launched a little while ago, sitting up here just quite happily, hovering up in space. Hello, you seem to be okay. A little bit awkward. I wouldn't want to be sitting up here with this sort of like jerky motion as such. That would be a little bit so we say spew-worthy, but otherwise very minimalistic, no design whatsoever on here. This was just done as an upgrade, and just basically an orbital experimentation. So any comments below? If you think I should redesign one maybe from scratch, I think I would. If I was doing this again, I might redesign it from scratch, but this was just a quick upgrade and hopefully a quick video. Well, quick video on my thing. It's been about an hour, but I'm sure I'll cut it down to a little bit less than that, but quick for my standards. Until next time, please click that like button. Let me know people are watching. Any comments, leave them below. Until then, have fun.